Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Wow. I'll tell you what, guys, I sure hope you had a fantastic weekend. And like I always say, they just go by so fast. Judy and I had an amazing weekend. Actually, my mom came down from Canada, spent some time visiting with us, and although Mother's Day isn't quite yet, we kind of took her out and celebrated Mother's Day over the weekend. So it was a real blessing to honor her and just enjoy that. And I know, hey guys, sometimes, we don't get the opportunity to celebrate one another as much as what we should. And I'll tell you what, if you get some chance, find any old excuse just to celebrate each other because life goes by way too fast. Before you know it, look, Judy and I oftentimes say, because, we're in our mid 50s going into our 60s there, that, hey, we probably have more life behind us than we do ahead of us, no doubt. And needless to say, when the older you get, the faster it just seems to go by. Now, I know there's folks out there a lot older than what I am. I'm 55. Well, I'll tell you what. I suspect that you look back over your life and you're thinking, wow, did that ever go by fast? And so you only get to realize that when you kind of get up in these upper ages and you're going down the other side of the hill, as they say, that the climb up seemed to be going so slow. Well, I'll tell you what, the slide down goes so fast. At least that's the way it seems to me. So, hey, when you get a chance, get out there and celebrate each other, I'll tell you. Well, guys, the article that I was reading this morning, I'll tell you what, it borders on the hilarious. And when I was reading it, I couldn't really believe what I was reading was serious, but they're dead serious. Now, this is coming out of New York, and it's the mayor of New York. And what he's asking folks to do is he's asking the city to track the food consumption of citizens of New York City. You got it. And the reason for this is, he has this big deal on, milk, cheese, dairy products, and beef, and how it relates to climate change. You heard that right, climate change. And so his goal is to get this, reduce food consumption in the city by 33% by, you guessed it, guys, 2030. And when I read this article, I thought, you got to be kidding me. Do you know how many people have been out there trying to make a buck on weight loss programs and exercise regimes and all this and that, trying to reduce people's food consumption? And you're talking New York City. I mean, that has got to be one of the most culinary cities in the world in terms of the variety of food, the type of foods that people can have. And I'll tell you what, when you start trampling on people's diets to that degree that really love those, various varieties of food, boy, you're on dangerous ground, that's to be sure. But I just thought this is getting to the point of utter ridiculousness. And that's why, guys, when you see these folks have this mindset, oh man, we got to track people's spending and track what they're buying. I mean, that alone is really trampling on a lot of our freedom and liberty right there. The anonymity of something so intimate as your diet as to what you consume and the food that you like to eat and things like that, that they're going to track that on you and what you're spending and this and that. And to the tune of setting up, how are they going to reduce that, food consumption by 33%? Well, the first thing they're going to do is this. According to the article, they're going to have a lot of, putting out a lot of commercials and now that promoting the reduction of eating beef or, cheese or milk or all that kind of stuff. They're going to try and get you to do that, by, promoting it with commercials and things like that and try to get you to, turn away from it. Kind of like they did when it was like the cigarette ban and how bad it is for you and everything like this. Then after that, they're going to try and impose different legislation in terms of what people can actually consume and how much of it and stuff like this. It's just to the point of absolute insanity. I mean, to think that they're going to actually be able to tell you, how much meat you can eat in a week or, oh, you bought way too much dairy this last month. And, when I was living in British Columbia, in Langley, British Columbia, there are cultures there that they make a lot of their different foods with a lot of dairy products, especially milk. And they buy a lot of milk and stuff like that. And that is their right. That is their culture. If they want to go out and consume it, hey, go ahead and consume it. But when the government gets in there and they start to tell you, any government, this is like a local civic government that's coming out of the mayor of New York. Well, my thinking on that is, hey, look, you're really overstepping your bounds here. If someone wants to, go out and eat a whole bunch of bonbons and gain 50 pounds and stuff like that, hey, it's not healthy for them. Look, they know it's not healthy for them. But who is the government to go out there and start deciding how much of what you can eat? You know what I mean? Absolutely crazy. Now, what I'm kind of curious to know is how on earth are they genuinely going to implement this and track all the citizens and what they're eating? I think they're going to do it on not an individual basis, of course, but they're going to track, how much milk has been purchased over the last year from year to year, how much meat, how much eggs and stuff like that. And don't kid yourself, guys, if they don't reduce the availability of those items so that you can't go out there and purchase it easily. In fact, one way that they get you on that is they just raise the price of it, don't they? They make it so that it's too expensive for you to buy as much as what you used to buy, Think of a dozen eggs. Hey, haven't we seen price fluctuations in that? But that's what's going on, and it absolutely borders on the ridiculous. As far as I'm concerned, it's getting beyond belief when you see this kind of stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys are seeing it yet, but if you're living out there in New York and you're watching this, if you've heard about this, I'd just like to hear your comments on it and just, what the actual mood is and what people are thinking about this. Because, of course, when we read these news articles and stuff like that, we aren't getting the information like from boots on the ground. And I'll tell you what, the best news that people are going to get are from people who are actually there and experiencing it. So, hey, if you're up there and you're experiencing that, please make a comment. Let us know just how that's employed, or if people are really open to this, or if they've even heard about it. That would be another thing. I'm going to put the link in the description because this is one of those articles that is just absolutely, truly ridiculous. So ridiculous that most folks probably won't believe it until they read it with their own eyes. And normally I don't like to do that on the coffee chats, only because I think it's so invaluable for people to go out there and do their own research and find these articles and things like that. A quick Google search is going to help you find all these things and all that kind of stuff. And then that way, you kind of feel like you've got some skin in the game in terms of like knowing about what's going on in your part of the world and stuff like that. So that's why I normally don't put them. But for this one, I'm going to put it in there because I just think that most people won't even believe it unless they actually read it themselves. Now, having said that, guys, I want to touch on something else. When we read a lot of these news articles and things like that, the emphasis on dividing lines is so great. I mean, really, when you see it's talk about polarization. It's either black or it's white or it's this or it's, there's really no middle ground hardly anymore. And this is something that I see as being, really divisive in, our society. And the one thing I love and enjoy is healthy debate, where you and I and people can get out there and share their thoughts, opinions, points of view without having to worry about being eviscerated or demonized for having a different point of view. That is absolutely one of the fundamental core things that give our society the liberty that it has. And so I would just like to say, hey, look, we need to be out there as advocates for listening, advocates for understanding, advocates for hearing different points of view. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to agree on every point of view, to be sure, but we don't want to trample on somebody else's ability to express that point of view just because it differs from ours, or maybe it scares us a little bit or something like that. That's not healthy, guys. We got to be out there. This space was built, this whole digital asset space was built on the premise of libertarianism. And we need to be advocates for genuine liberty instead of demonizing people. Look at it in this space. You got Bitcoin maxis, you got XRP Army, you got this, you got that. And when I first entered it, it bewildered me. I thought that we were all part of this space to look down the road at what could make us profit. You know what I mean? But soon I learned there's a big time culture in this digital asset space, and some of it can be rather toxic. And so we want to get out there and be advocates for real positive change, to be sure. But while we do it, we don't want to crush underfoot the very thing for which this whole thing started off, and that is our liberty to express ourselves to one another. Anyway, that's at least my 2 cents. Well, guys, I sure hope you're having a great start of your week. It's Monday. I always love Mondays because you get to almost start the whole week over, and it's a brand new beginning. At least that's how I view it. So I'll tell you what, we've got a great video planned for you later on today, and until then, I sure hope you're having a great one, and take care.